Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club. This week on Hero Club, our guest is Haley Joel Osment. Haley, is there anything you want to say to the people?
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Twitter at Haley Joel Osment, but on Instagram as HJ Osment. Why did I make them different? I don't know.
Was one of them taken by an imposter?
I think so. That might have been it.
That's what happened to me.
Well, it sure beat the hell out of me. But our old adversary Marblemouth, a former Italian mob boss with an affinity for atrocious arpeggios, was alive. But how? And was he responsible for the jailbreak at Rikers? All these questions were contingent on Chuck and me getting the big bastard to crack. A job it seemed like he'd already done all by himself.
Hero Club presents Paid Back in Spades, a Hank Blackstone mystery. Chapter 4, 3-Card Monte. Hank and Charlie sit in a busy New York City police precinct, each of them cradling coffees in their hands. Hank is just about finished with his, while Charlie's is still completely full, going cold. Sergeant Dick McCoy pulls off earwarmers and thick gloves while blowing hot air into his hands. Whew! Boy, it's cold out there. Oh, sorry, Charlie, you need milk?
I just take it, regular.
You're not drinking any?
I prefer the, heat from the coffee, so less so the intake of liquid. I'll just take it black.
Oh, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Ah, geez, 1 in the morning, I need to go to sleep. Well, we're all set up back there if you guys want to follow me.
Hank tosses his coffee from across the room into a wastebasket.
Make an athletics check.
10.
The cup clatters to the floor a little bit wide.
Hank ignores it and walks away towards the interrogation room.
Dick walks Hank and Charlie through the office.
Hey, Sarge, who's the loon you guys brought in?
Get back to work, Joe. If I don't have those reports on my desk by 6 a.m., you're gonna have a problem.
Jeez, Dick, you're a real taskmaster.
Yeah, I don't even know if he has reports to do. I just say that and they go paler than a glass of milk.
Ha ha ha! Way to run an office.
You guys remember when they used to take my gun away?
Yeah, I miss those days.
Well, they can't do it anymore. He quick draws his revolver.
Well, Dick, they definitely can take your gun away.
They can?
Yeah, Dick. You're not the commissioner. And even if you were the commissioner, they could still take your gun away.
Maybe it's best we all put our guns where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
Hey, guys, brace yourselves. Marblemouth was in a bad way when we got him, but who knows what we're coming up against when we get into that room.
Dick, Hank, and Charlie are now walking through some double doors down a bare, echoey hallway. And finally, they reach a holding room with a steel windowless door. There is also a more ordinary door next to the steel one, just a few feet to the left. Jesus Christ, Marblemouth is back. I thought you guys said he was dead.
To the best of my knowledge, he was, Dick. I mean, we saw him laying on the ground with half his face off. I guess that explains the whole marble jaw thing. A bit on the nose, if you ask me.
Yeah, a little bit contrived. It's one of my words of the day. You didn't see it earlier, but I put that's my word of the day in my calendar. And it means to deliberately create rather than arising naturally or spontaneously, almost as if he did it to himself. You know, to be on theme. It's weird.
Oh, also, I looked into that guy you said was on the boat with you. Nobody found the body, guys. Are you sure that... Do you think that maybe he got away?
Dick, we can only hope, but I wouldn't hold your breath. I'm thinking whatever got him didn't leave much evidence behind, if you catch my drift.
Oh, yikes. Well, thank God Kit called the police when he did, and you think Marblemouth had something to do with the Rikers breakout? I'm telling you guys, they have no idea what happened. People keep trying to go over to the island, and... I mean... nobody's coming back.
Wait, Rikers is still a big old zombie island?
Well, I don't know nothing about that. You couldn't pay me to get on a boat over there.
Chuck, maybe whoever sprung those guys out and let them down into the sewer is still building their numbers.
You mean, like, creating an army?
I don't know, Chuck. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, why else would you need all those bodies?
Jeez.
Well, I don't even want to think about this anymore. Look, we got the one-way mirror and everything, and he's in there cuffed under the table, so I gave the chief the scoop. If anyone asks, you two did undercover with us for a while, and you're lieutenants from the... He checks some papers. 30th Precinct. And your names are Sean Wayne and Skunk Buteman.
Please tell me I am Sean Wayne.
Oh, you guys can pick whoever you are.
I'm Sean Wayne.
Sean Wayne. God damn it.
Hey, sorry, man. Those are two real guys in the database. I had to pick people we haven't been able to find for a while. So just stick with those. Doesn't matter who's who, really. Just bring the report to me when you're done and make sure you fill it out with accurate information.
Hey, those look like big quotation marks that you're making with your hands. Is that, should I be gleaning something from that?
I'm not doing air quotes, Sean.
Oh, I'm so confused. But yes, we will get that accurate information for you, Sergeant.
Yeah, all right, you get it. Good luck, fellas. And he walks down the hall.
All right, Chuck, let's do this.
How you want to handle this? I mean, Marblemouth's one tough SOB.
Why don't you just look scary, and I'll try to get some information out of him. And you come in with your muscle if I'm hitting any roadblocks.
You got it. Hank, he seems to have some sort of fixation with you. He always is saying, Blackstone, Blackstone. Are you sure you're gonna be okay in there?
I've seen a lot of scary stuff in my day. I can handle Marblemouth.
Okay, just thought I'd ask. Let's do this.
Hank opens the door and walks in.
Charlie cracks his knuckles, attempting to look more intimidating. He can't take off his glasses of disguise to become a rock, even though he really wants to. So he just looks like a slightly more intimidating, sexy, middle-aged man.
They see a broad, hulking figure in a khaki gray jumpsuit. Marblemouth is a man in his late 50s. His usual slicked-back black hair is disheveled. His eyes absolutely sunken. You could only really describe his visage as shattered. His fingertips are calloused, fingernails absolutely frayed. Through his scars, you see his face is pale as a ghost. His most defining feature is a false jaw made of marble. The apparatus strapped to his head with leather and sheet metal. Hank and Charlie, through all of this, notice that Marblemouth, as awful as he looks, seems as though he hasn't aged a day. Hello, boys. Or should I say, thank you? My saviors.
Morning, Marblemouth. How you been? You look like shit.
Nice. Charlie and Hank subtly high-five.
You don't know the half of it. Blackstone. I feel worse than shit. Absolutely twisted around. I wish I could tell you exactly how I've been, but it's spotty, you know.
Charlie comes in hot. Spotty, huh? Well, last time I saw you, you were dead. How'd that happen, huh?
Charlie, you look good. All I know is I thought I was dead too. And then soapy eyes. I woke up and in and out saw his face, heard screaming and saw blades, tools and music. And then I had this thing on my face. Finally became what I always hated so much about myself. I can't hide anymore, boys.
Yeah, and we're really choked up about that Marble Mouth, but get to the point. What do you know about the Dullahan murders?
And was that you who turned everybody at Rikers all purple-eyed?
I hear whispers around the city as the boat travels to and fro, like people are screaming in my head. All I know is the Irish are scared. They're so scared, boys. I never put the fear in the Irish like that. I wish I had. And, was it me? Yes. And no. I don't know.
Charlie continues to come in hot. Well, which one is it? Am I doing okay, Hank?
You're coming in a little hot, Chuck.
Well, which one is it? Is that good? Like a in-between?
Hank gives a little thumbs up.
Thank you.
Music is music, boys. It doesn't matter who plays it. The music's on the page. It exists without the player. The music does what the music wants, and I used to think that I played the music, but no, that's not true, is it? No. Sometimes you see the music notes on the page and you think, I can control this, but the music notes were there long before any of us, boys.
Marblemouth's pupils are completely dilated, and tears begin to well up in his eyes, spilling over his cheeks. But he's smiling.
Who wrote the music that you're talking about?
That's the question, Charlie. Not even the fucking German knew that one. Who wrote it? Hank, do you know who wrote what we read at night?
Hank slaps Marblemouth across the face. Pull yourself together, Marblemouth. You're cracking up a little. I'm nothing like you.
No, you're nothing like me. You're strong. You would never succumb. You would never go crazy staring at sheets of paper, would you, Blackstone?
Who else was with you, Marblemouth? Who else was with you?
The smile is gone, but the tears continue.
A snake. A beautiful serpent, boys.
Was it, made of fire?
No. Silver.
You're talking about Bella Vaughn. Silvertongue. You discard her like everyone else in your life? Leave her in the gutter? In your wake of carnage?
Hey, Blackstone, how did you do it?
Do what?
Kill him. The doctor.
He tried his best, but it wasn't good enough.
How? 5 years I've been racking my brain, trying to figure it out.
Well, you're gonna have a lot more time to do that in the psych ward, Marblemouth. You're never getting out of there.
Good. I'm where I'm supposed to be, boys. I need time away from all this. I'm scared.
Good. Hank walks out of the room.
Blackstone, let me make it up to you in some way.
Why would I ever trust you to do that, Marblemouth?
Call it life debt, Blackstone. Don't have to trust me, just listen to what I know.
You have 5 seconds. Wow me.
Count DerHorne.
Count DerHorne, the scumbag that swindled us out of a bunch of magic items? That Count DerHorne? We're not wowed, Marblemouth. And if there's a library in the psych ward, I suggest you use it.
He's in town. And the thing that you're looking for, the thing that I'm looking for, the thing that the Irish are looking for, he's got it. Or he knows where it is. The clover.
Hey, Millie said something about that. The prism and the clover.
Yes. The prism in the clover.
We'll look into it, Marblemouth. Hey, one more thing. From the pictures we've seen, it looks like you were with Soapy Eyes the night the prism went missing. Do you know anything about that? He's dead. You know that, right? Got his head taken clean off.
I wanted the prism. The music wanted the prism too, but I wanted it. See, the clover's lucky, and I needed some luck. So I met with my old friend in the Dullahan. Yeah.
So why did Soapy Eyes have the prism in the first place? He seemed like a two-bit thug.
He had the prism. Then he lied to me. Good boy. Keep it away from the music.
Be seeing you, Marblemouth. And Hank walks out the room.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie sighs, and then stops for a second and looks back.
I'm an open book. Tell Hank if he ever wants to read another one. I'm right here.
I think your book's gonna be on the shelf for a while, pal.
And the door slams shut. Dick is waiting for Hank and Charlie in the hallway holding a slip of paper. Hey, fellas, Mr. Rockefeller called while you were in there, and he said to give you this address. Looks like it's a hotel, the Olivia Hotel in Midtown. Said to ask the dealer for more information. I don't know what that means, but he said it might help you.
He almost died last night, and now he wants us to do more errands for him?
I don't know, Chuck. This could be a good lead. He's probably referring to Count Vanderhorn.
I am not gonna like my day today, am I?
When it's Count Vanderhorn, we never do.
So you guys thinking about going now or in the morning? Because if you wait till the morning, I could come with you.
No, we'll go now.
But, I mean, I could give you a ride. I don't mind. We can get coffee. We can do breakfast.
Can we just have the ride? I'm so sorry, Dick. We're just kind of in, we want to take care of this as soon as possible. I'll get coffee with you some other day. Maybe Hank will come too.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe he won't come. But either way, we're gonna get coffee, and I will hold it and not drink it and enjoy its heat.
We should go now so we catch him unawares.
Good idea, Hank.
All right, let me just go tell everybody I'm leaving. Dick walks out into the main area of the precinct and quiets everyone.
Do you think he's gonna pull out his gun again?
He usually does.
He's gotta stop that.
Dick pulls out his gun and waves it in the air to get everyone's attention. Excuse me, everyone. Attention. Sergeant speaking here. The sergeant is talking.
You gotta put your gun away.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Force of habit. He holsters the gun. Everyone, I'm gonna be taking a little, hour-long sabbatical. No laughs. So just, batten down the fort for me. I'll be back in a few, and, then we can all wrap.
Who cares? Go already!
All right, you guys are the ginchiest. Let's go, fellas. Dick leads Hank and Charlie out to the parking lot and into the police cruiser.
Hank whispers to Chuck, God, he's so embarrassing.
Yeah, but he's our friend.
I guess.
He's my friend. Let's just get in the car, come on. Charlie and Hank climb in.
All right, let's go. And Dick pulls out of the precinct and makes his way to Midtown. The drive uptown only takes 10 minutes, as traffic is still very thin thanks to the closures of all the bridges. And Dick stops the car in front of a beautiful 30-story hotel. Here we are. You sure you don't want me to come up with you?
Yeah, we're sure, Dick. You, have a good night.
We'll get that coffee, next week. How's that?
Sounds good, Charlie.
All right. Have a good one, Dick. Thanks.
Good night. I'll keep you updated if I hear anything.
All right, thank you, Dick. You can go now.
Okay. I'm just making sure you're safe.
We are safe, standing on the concrete,
I know, you're supposed to wait till they get inside. That's,
Oh, okay. Hank, should we go inside?
You can go, Dick.
a
He said
hotel.
you can go.
Okay,
It's not like we have keys to it.
The car speeds off.
I am starting to understand what you mean.
Yeah, just annoying, right?
Charlie takes a look at the hotel. A little bit gaudy, huh? It seems appropriate for Count Vanderhorn.
The gaudiest man we know.
Hank and Charlie walk through the revolving doors underneath the marquee that reads the Olivia Hotel. The walls are bare white, punctuated by several modern art pieces, most of which are some sort of twisted steel or some other metal.
Hey, Hank, you think I can make that in my spare time?
I think a 5-year-old could make that in their spare time, Chuck.
Yeah, but a 5-year-old isn't a gigantic, strong rock. You understand. You get it.
Yeah, no, you're strong.
I think it's nice. It would look good in the store, right?
What you do on your own time is what you do on your own time, Chuck. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm not making fun of the artwork. I'm just saying maybe I.
A water feature behind the reception desk trickles continuously, and the clerk, A woman dressed neatly in a kind of suit looks up at you from behind the front desk.
Can I help you?
Hank takes off his hat and puts on his nicest face. Good evening, ma'am. We're friends of one of your guests, and we're here visiting them.
And who would that be?
Count
Our
Vanderhorne.
best friend, Count Vanderhorne.
Our very best friend.
I do have a guest under Vanderhorne. Did he give you a room number?
No, you know what? It's his birthday today, and we thought we would surprise him. We're some of his best friends from childhood, and if you could just let us up there and we knock on the door, it'll be a real gas.
Hank pulls an entire bouquet of flowers out of his sleeve. We brought him presents.
Roll a performance check.
10.
Hank messes up the pull of the bouquet, and a lot of the petals scatter across the floor. Hank is left holding several large stems.
Right.
Roll a deception check.
12.
The woman looks a little bit suspicious, stares at both of you for a moment through narrowed eyes.
All right, you can go ahead. He's on the top floor, penthouse.
Of course.
Thank you so much. He's gonna be so surprised.
Oh, wait, I need you to sign in.
Of course. And Hank signs in to the front desk as Skunk Buttman and Sean Wayne.
Is it Buttman?
No, it's Buteman.
Sure it is. Have a good night.
Hank leads Charlie over to the bank of elevators. I'm sorry about the flowers, Chuck. I haven't changed since the party, and they're kind of old.
They're real flowers? Like you water them?
Oh, yeah, of course.
In your sleeve.
Well, I take them out to water them.
The elevator begins to ascend.
Why is this way more impressive than anything else you've ever told me?
What, that I water flowers?
That you water flowers that are in your sleeve, and you keep them alive instead of buying fake flowers that you deploy and reuse.
Well, look, magic is all about pageantry, Chuck. If I had fake flowers, it's hardly a miracle.
I guess you're right.
The elevator reaches the top floor. There's only a very small entryway, a narrow little hallway with a set of large wooden doors. A little plaque reads Penthouse.
All right, let's take this one nice and quiet like, Chuck. Who knows what that slippery bastard's got up his sleeve? And here, let's give him a taste of his own medicine. And Hank produces the scarf of Count Vanderhorne from his sleeve and wraps it around Charlie's neck. As long as he's wearing it, nothing he does will produce any sound.
How delightfully ironic.
Hank goes to silently pick the lock of the penthouse suite.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
32.
The lock clicks open, and just as the door begins to swing open, you hear a little wire snap.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden, magical chains explode upward from the floor and wrap themselves around both Hank and Charlie tight.
God damn it.
Classic Vanderhorne.
And Hank and Charlie fall forward into the penthouse suite, face down. There are some soft footfalls on carpet as someone approaches. And suddenly, you are kicked onto your back with a bare foot. And standing above you, in nothing but a towel and an eye patch, is Count Vanderhorne.
Who dares enter my penthouse without invitation? Oh, excuse me. I have to adjust my scarf of the Screamer. This volume is not appropriate for such close quarters. Oh, if it isn't my two old chums. How did you find my penthouse?
The betoweled man adjusts a long red scarf, which he also uses to dry just behind his ears.
God, he loves scarves.
It seems like you might be wearing one of my scarves. How that happened, I don't know.
Good evening, Count.
Good evening, Hank. Can I interest you gentlemen in a drink? No? Well, I'll make one for myself then. A Ramos Gin Fizz. It must be shaken without interruption for 3 whole minutes. An incredibly complex and challenging drink. He walks to the bar and slowly assembles a Ramos Gin Fizz, then proceeds to shake it without interruption for 3 minutes.
Wow, he's really shaking that for 3 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, he wasn't kidding about the time.
The chains suddenly force Hank and Charlie upright.
Ah, that's good. Now, allow me to slip into something more comfortable. He pulls on an incredibly gaudy house cloak and purple slippers. Now, let me take your coats. He yanks their coats from within the chain's grasp and puts them in a closet. with no intention of ever returning them. Now that I've had my drink, perhaps you can enlighten me as to why you've broken into my penthouse in the middle of the night.
The door swings shut behind Hank and Charlie. The pair levitate about a foot off the ground, move forward into the apartment, the walls of which are covered in completely random objects and artifacts. Assortments of orbs containing swirling gas, swords with intricate designs, coats, hats, gloves, strings, puzzle boxes, scarves, shields, etc.
I love these magical chains. They are the ginchiest, Daddy-O.
Hank and Charlie are forced into a seated position on a very plush leather couch.
Well, Count, it's very good to see you again. We were just stopping by to ask you a couple questions about a mutual acquaintance of ours.
Oh, this piques my interest. Which acquaintance might this be?
Tom Cutter.
Who the hell is that?
Soapy Eyes Jim?
Soapy-ass Jin?
What do you know about the Dullahans?
Ah, the Dullahans. You come here for a history lesson? I can tell you tales of the Dullahans going back many generations in County Cork in Old Ireland.
We're a little more interested in what the Dullahans have been up to in the last week or so.
Really? I don't know what you could be referring to. The Dullahans were completely wiped out in a series of murders in the 18th century. A bloody tale, that.
We saw your signature the other day on a miniature snake figurine.
Well, then I must have certified it as genuine.
What, like an appraisal?
Precisely like an appraisal. I am the master appraiser, after all.
Did you know that the figurine used to be a gigantic snake, and then when I severed its jaws, it became a figurine?
I didn't see it necessary to include a set of instructions with a figurine such as that. I expect that the user assumes all risk when acquiring such an object.
Oh, boy. What a fuddy-duddy.
But yes, I remember the figurine in question. A beautiful piece. What color was the snake when it emerged?
It was kind of hard to tell while it was breathing fire on us.
Oh, yes, it is a fire-breathing snake. Venomous, too.
So you know the snake, this guy?
Listen, DerHorne, your name has come up a lot recently in connection with some Dullahan-related murders. And we just thought we'd stop by and see what you knew about it.
Also, if you want to give us back our stuff you stole, we would love that as well.
I don't know what you could possibly be referring to. If you intend to bring up the issue of when I sold you tickets to the Hayden Planetarium, it's free. There are no tickets. I won't be discussing that either.
Our interactions with you taught me the definition of the word swindle.
Gentlemen, this is all good sport. I rather enjoy our tussles, our back and forth over the years. But if you intend to involve me in a case of murder, well, that's something else entirely. Gentlemen, I don't know anything about these murders, but I did sell that snake figurine to a woman. She was 40 years old, Rita Hayworth, red hair, missing an arm, missing a leg. Otherwise, no identifying marks to speak of.
Those are two pretty identifying marks.
And she paid with Irish doubloons, which I found interesting.
You mean like coins with horses on them?
Yes, a stallion to be exact. It's so brilliant it seems to glow in the dark.
Look, I'm gonna level with you, Count. We need your help here.
Well, I am considered one of the most helpful appraisers in the city. But let's make it quick-like, for I have to rise early on the morrow for a meeting with Kit Rockefeller.
Oh, a meeting of my two favorite people. Great.
What are you meeting with Kit about?
Well, you see, I'm pulling one of my favorite little schemes. A few months past, I sold Mr. Rockefeller an Irish prism. Its history deeply intertwined with that of the clover, another beautiful emerald artifact. I'm going to sell him a counterfeit clover tomorrow, and then I'll steal back the prism at another time.
Oh, you mean like you did with us? When you sold us that demon ward, yes, I'm using air quotes, that turned out to be an idol of deep sleep so you can come into our place and steal everything that we had?
I certainly made sure you caught your Z's that night.
So you admit it. I admit nothing.
Well, it's gonna be a little hard to steal that prism back, Count, on account of we have it ourselves.
You don't say.
Yeah, we curiously got it off of a inmate at Rikers. A Soapy Eyes Jim.
How did the prism make its way to the prison?
That's what we're trying to piece together. Until just now, we didn't know it ever crossed your desk.
If there's an artifact with any value, I'm sure to have my hands on it at some point. Or my name isn't Count Jessica Michelangelo Aldous DerHorne.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't know my initials, did you?
Nope, and I want to forget them.
I have some embossed business cards I can give you before you leave.
I will not take them.
A wise choice, because they're cursed.
I knew it!
Look, ever since this prism surfaced, these Dullahans have been coming around and killing people, just like in the legend. You know, the Celtic headless horseman tale? Each victim has been cleanly beheaded, and one of those Irish doubloons with the horse on them has been found in their neck.
Fascinating. I half expect them to leave a bowl of corned beef and hash, but that might be too on the nose.
You're right, it does feel too easy. Why would you leave such an obvious calling card?
Could be a frame-up job, or it could be something personal.
Like they want to send a message?
A message that they're cutting people's heads off.
Well, that's probably very clear from the, head being cut off.
What I just can't figure out is there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to who's getting their head cut off. The first guy was our inmate friend, Soapy Eyes Jim, a low-level Italian enforcer. And then the next victim was Tom Cutter himself, the head of the Irish crime family, the Cutters. And right after he lost his head, the whole place went up in flames thanks to your little figurine.
Though I have noticed one thing in common with all your victims. They've all had some sort of connection to the prism or the clover, or both. Because recently, many of the Irish have been reaching out to me, deeply interested in getting their hands on them. Specifically, Tom Cutter and Jack O'Connor.
O'Connor, like O'Connor's pub.
That's where the flame beheading in question occurred.
I see. Unfortunately for them, I already sold the real clover. I submitted it to the Arcana auction.
Arcana auction? Is that some sort of big fancy auction for other weirdos like yourself?
Got it and won.
When is this auction?
Later this weekend. It happens at a jazz bar deep in the West Village. A smoky cave full of hip cats and wild gals. My plan is I'm going to wait for someone to buy the clover, find out who it is, and then steal the clover back. And in the meantime, they won't even be able to use it because they don't have the prism. Some stupid wizard's gonna be very disappointed.
Just so I know, how many enemies do you have?
A man who booby-traps his foyer with magic chains is usually not wanting for enemies.
Well, it seems like you make more every single day.
Well, I have my suction cup boots and my glass cutter. I'll be fine.
Oh, right, yeah, the old Count DerHorne ace in the hole. Amazing.
So tell me, what do you two know about the clover and the prism?
Well, I'd tell you everything over a chainless drink.
That sounds reasonable. Chains, be gone!
The chains relinquish back into the floor,
Ugh.
and a drink lifts off the desk and floats to your hand.
Hank takes a heavy sip. Nothing makes me thirstier than magic chains.
Count DerHorne has begun to dress himself a little more appropriately, throwing on a pale pink suit, bright yellow boots, a red scarf, 2 large golden bangles on each wrist, and affixes a different eye patch, this one white.
Now I'm ready to hit the town.
What is this, your Easter best?
St. Crispin's Day, as a matter of fact. It behooves a man to keep track of the many, many saints' days when dealing with the Irish.
Well, here's to St. Crispin. And Hank takes another deep sip. So we don't know much about the prism and the clover in a historical context. But what we do know is that everyone in this whole damn city is trying to get their hands on both of them. We also know that one doesn't work without the other, the prism sort of operating like a battery of some kind, charging the clover. We don't know what the clover actually does, but it must be pretty powerful to have all these people killing each other over it.
It's true. The artifacts working together do far more than alter simple probabilities or games of chance. The clover allows you to alter probabilities on a massive scale, affecting events as they happen.
My God.
You can make your own luck.
Exactly. Now, there is a catch. The clover can only be used 4 times before it goes completely dormant and becomes nothing but a smooth, polished stone with no powers at all. To recharge it, you must expose it to refracted rainbow light from the prism itself. It's said that St. Patrick used the clover to banish the serpents from Ireland, and believe you me, Ireland had quite the serpent problem. But in witnessing the power of this clover, I've developed a theory that it was forged thousands of years ago by Irish fairies. You may know them as leprechauns.
Is that the authentic pronunciation? Leprechaun?
That's how they pronounce it.
Banishing the serpents from Ireland. Is that why we keep seeing these snakes everywhere?
You just encountered a fire-breathing venomous serpent, so it's keeping with the trend. And I'll be honest, it's not the only figurine I've sold.
Oh, were they all to that same one-armed, one-legged woman?
Yes.
Christ. What were the other figurines, Count?
There's a knock at the door.
I'll get the door. Count DerHorne walks to the large wooden doors and pulls them open.
A very small, meek man is standing there with a silver platter and a tray.
And who might you be?
Oh, sorry for interrupting you, sir, but I got your 3 a.m. cakes that you requested.
Ah, yes. My mid-evening snack. Yes, bring them in here and set them on that table.
The little man wobbles forward and sets the silver platter on a coffee table, lifting the top off and revealing 3 beautifully decorated cupcakes, one with pink icing, one with white icing, and one with blue icing.
Now that is culinary artistry.
You eat 3 cupcakes at 3 a.m. every single night?
Every single night.
I'm just gonna ask it. This isn't a trick, right? Like, we eat the cupcakes and we go to sleep for 5 years and then you can steal everything we have, or we eat the cupcakes, but then instead of rock, I'm made out of cupcakes, or we eat the cupcakes and we turn into teeny figurines.
Count DerHorne is already halfway done with one of the cupcakes.
I mean, I wouldn't poison myself, so have no fear.
No.
To prove his point, Count DerHorne takes a bit of icing off of each cupcake and eats it.
Pretty good.
Everybody roll a perception check.
Botch.
14.
19.
The cupcakes smell delicious. You don't notice anything odd about them, but Count DerHorne, gazing over at the small man who brought the cupcakes in, realizes that he is staring at Charlie with wide eyes, his jaw tightly clenched.
You look, unsettled, my small friend.
Oh, no, I'll be going.
Hey, pal, you, want to take a picture?
The man averts his eyes and then walks out of the room.
I feel like we shouldn't have let that suspicious little man leave.
You guys sure you don't want one of these?
And Count DerHorne falls down hard and fast, his head smashing into the coffee table as he goes down.
This guy, what? Wait a minute, Hank. Wait, Hank, do you think he did it to himself, like the trickster he is, or do you think he was poisoned by that shifty-looking Scottish guy?
Hank is halfway out the door. I doubt he poisoned himself, Chuck. Let's get that guy.
Let's get that guy!
Hank bursts out of the 2 wooden doors looking for the man.
He sees him halfway down the hallway. The man turns around, eyes wide, wearing a gas mask, and says, "Oh shit, pull it now! And red gas begins to descend from the vents, shimmering a little bit in the dim sconce light.
Hank sprints towards the man, attempting to wrestle the gas mask off of its face.
Roll an attack.
16.
What are you doing?
Call off the gas, Pally, or you'll go down with us.
Make a constitution save. Charlie, you too.
14.
26.
Hank begins to cough.
Hank, you okay?
And his vision goes woozy.
I don't feel so good, Chuck.
The man crawls out from underneath Hank rather easily, holding his hand over his mouth, reaches into his pocket, and pulls out what looks like a smoke grenade. He then runs over to Charlie, pulls the pin out, and sprays it in his face. Charlie, make another constitution save.
17.
Charlie moves his head to the left, avoiding most of the gas.
Hey!
He can feel his vision foggying a little bit, but he's still maintaining a grip over his senses.
All right, come here. Charlie grabs the guy by the throat and lifts him off his feet.
Roll a grapple check.
13.
The man backsteps, dodging Charlie's grab for his throat.
Come here, you little gas man. Charlie decides to kick him so that he falls on his back. 17.
The man hits the deck.
All right, little man, tell us who you work for.
The man's eyes begin to roll back up into his head, and he slowly passes out as the gas takes over.
Oh, come on. Charlie grabs the little man by the legs, throws him over his shoulder, and fireman carries him out.
Hank, make a constitution save.
20.
Hank, you can feel yourself losing consciousness, but you're holding on. You guess that you probably have about 10 seconds before the world goes dark.
Hank quickly puts the gas mask on that he stole from the man and begins to breathe normally, before following Chuck into Count Vanderhorn's apartment.
Charlie, make a constitution save.
25.
Charlie covers his mouth with his hand, effectively blocking most of the gas from entering.
Hank rushes over to the unconscious Count Vanderhorn and pats him down for the glass cutter.
Roll an investigation check.
34.
He quickly finds it in Vanderhorn's boot. Then you hear what sounds like an explosive squeaking noise behind you. Roll a perception check.
18.
And you see 5 men walk through the doors to Count Vanderhorn's apartment, all dressed in black, all wearing gas masks, and they raise their guns at you, all firing. 3 of the bullets go wide and explode in a big puff of red powder against the far wall. However, 1 bullet strikes both Hank and Charlie each. Both of you make a constitution save.
13.
12.
Hank, the impact from this powder bullet knocks the gas mask clean off your face, and it's only a few seconds before the world goes black. Charlie, the same happens to you as one of the powdery bullets hits you in the back of the head and envelops your entire face.
Hank is face down on the carpet, unconscious.
Charlie sees a few of the men walk towards the 3 of them calmly before the world goes dark. Hank suddenly wakes with a start.
What the hell?
Gazing around the room through bleary eyes, Hank sees a dark cave floor and rough stone walls and a jagged ceiling. Count Vanderhorn, rubbing his eyes and coming to as well, sits up against a wall. Both of you are chained to the floor in a seated position, all 4 limbs locked into place.
So this is what my own petard feels like.
I still feel like you had something to do with this.
I eat these cakes every night, and I've never had this happen.
So this isn't some sort of secret extra double cross.
That would be a double cross so deep, so pure, I would be frightened to attempt it.
Hank looks around for Charlie.
Charlie is nowhere to be found.
Oh shit, where's Chuck?
You all ate the cupcakes, right? That's why you're here.
No, we didn't touch the cupcakes, it was the gas.
Gas?
Yes, the little man, the little Scottish cupcake man. I went out to find him after you passed out, face down in your cupcakes, and he was putting a gas mask on it, and he said to pull it into an earpiece, and suddenly the room was full of gas. It was everything I could not to pass out right then and there, but we managed to get a gas mask on me and get him into your apartment, and then some men burst in and shot us with powder guns. I don't remember anything after that point.
My God. So the hotel is no longer safe for me if I ever get out of here. And what a waste of cakes.
Hank hears a scream echoing down the hallway.
Chuck! Chuck, are you okay?
Where are you guys?
We're in some sort of cave, chained to the ground. I'm with Vanderhorn, he's chained too.
Vanderhorn! Oh, we're not saying our own names?
Wait, Hank, you're telling me he wasn't behind this?
No, he said that was a double cross so deep you wouldn't even dare attempt it.
It's true!
Is he crossing his fingers behind his back?
My fingers are chained with the rest of my body!
Look, Chuck, I hate to say it, but I don't think he's behind it.
Alright. Well, I'm strapped to this metallic table. I can't move. They got me pinned. There's a bunch of machines and stuff in here. It feels like that movie Frankenstein. I'm scared, Hank.
These are not good signs. I don't want to speak too soon, but strapped to a table, instruments of torture surrounding him. I don't like the smell of this.
I heard that. You are always yelling.
Hank notices that his gun and any obvious weapons have been taken from his person, but both he and Vanderhorn are still in their clothes from earlier.
Hank does a quick check to see if his magic items are still on him.
He concludes that everything that doesn't obviously look like a weapon is still on his person.
Vanderhorn, I'm assuming when you put on that suit, you were armed to the teeth with magic artifacts.
Thankfully, they didn't strip us nude, so I do have a few things up my sleeve.
Anything that could get us out of this?
Well, Scarf of the Screamer. I don't know how that's gonna help us in this case.
Yeah, I don't think that applies.
Well, this eye patch is the eye patch of true sight, so it might be able to show us our escape route. But first, we've got to get out of these chains. Let's see. These boots are not ordinary boots, they're cloud-jumping boots. I have a coat of dazzling lights. stuns anyone who lays eyes on it. Ah, and lastly, portal bangles. These create portals that you can jump through.
That last one is the only one I think we can use.
That's why I left it till last.
Well, you are nothing if not dramatic.
When you're chained up in a dungeon, you take your pleasures where you can. DerHorne shakes his wrists until the bangles drop loose. Alright, we'll toss one to the other end of the chamber, and then we'll pass through this one to get out of these chains.
Sounds like a plan. Here, slip me that bangle.
Alright, here it comes. Count DerHorne tries to flick the bangle towards Hank.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
26.
It lands right next to Hank's hand.
Yes!
Nice flick.
Thank you, Hank.
Please don't tell me you guys are becoming friends.
Hank grabs the bangle in his left hand and attempts to throw it across the chamber into place for the portal.
As soon as he throws it, when it makes contact with the ground, it expands, and a blue shimmering light begins to make up the interior of what becomes a magical portal, about 3 feet high and 3 feet wide.
Now that's a good portal. That's craftsmanship. Alright, I'm going to toss the other one as hard as I can directly between us, and hopefully, once it expands, it'll suck us through.
Hank readies himself.
We're now going to pass through the portal.
He gives the bangle a weak toss into the air. It lands between Hank and Count DerHorne and begins to expand on the ground.
Portal expanding.
And then the portal encompasses where Hank and Count DerHorne are bolted into the floor. And the chains, along with both men, tumble through and exit the portal on the other end of the room. Still shackled, but the shackles aren't attached to anything.
Whoa. That one squeezes.
Ooh, now that's a nice portal.
Thank you. Alright, we're one step of the way in the right direction.
Hank pulls out his lock-picking tools and goes to work unlocking the shackles from their hands.
Roll one sleight of hand check for all.
21.
It takes about 3 minutes, and Hank releases himself and Count DerHorne from the manacles.
That's better. Freedom!
Now let's go get Chuck. Hank pulls out a deck of cards, shuffles them within his hands, and starts sprinting down the cave. Chuck, we're coming!
I'm just a little behind.
Just try to keep up. We gotta get to Chuck.
How can you shuffle and run at the same time? It looks impossible.
Hank rounds the corner, passes down a narrower tunnel,
Hank, over here!
and eventually comes out into a small room of a kind, filled with massive, complicated-looking machinery.
Look at all this gear.
The devices look medical in nature, and several monitors attached to Charlie's body, who is restrained against a steel slab table that is tilted at a 45-degree angle, display unknown readings.
Guys, you gotta get me out of here. I don't want to find out what these machines are for.
Looks like they're preparing for surgery of some kind.
I am not welcoming any theories at the moment. Just get me out of here.
Charlie is in his full original rock form, his glasses sitting on a table next to him.
Hank, am I rock right now?
Yeah, you are, Chuck. Let me get you out of here. And Hank goes to work on the table's clasps.
What are you doing here?
Whipping around, Hank sees a man in a white lab coat, thick spectacles, holding a clipboard. He looks shocked.
You can't be here.
We didn't come here by choice.
I know that. Guards!
Hank flings 2 cards directly at the man and sprints at him. 15.
Hit.
11 damage.
The card sinks into the man's chest, its razor edge cutting deep. The man hits the back wall and slumps down to the floor, holding his wound, and then holds one hand up as if to say, "Please don't hurt me," and then says,
Please don't hurt me.
Hank grabs the card and twists it slightly.
Ow!
Who brought us here? Hank continues to twist. Who brought us here? And who shackled us to the ground?
You tell us right now.
Ow! I said ow! Stop!
Hank, you notice a small golden triangle on the man's front pocket. Roll a history check.
Botch.
You do not recognize it.
Hank grabs the pocket and pulls it off of the man's jacket.
I only got one of these.
He pockets the piece of fabric with the symbol on it. Tell us who brought us here, damn it!
The man points towards Count DerHorne.
We only came for him. We didn't want anything to do with you two, but then we took his glasses off and we wanted to find out what his whole deal was. And obviously, now that you're here, you can't ever leave.
Hey, here's my deal, pal. Get bent.
No, you get bent.
He's got you there.
You know what? I'm gonna try to bend something. I'm gonna try to bend these restraints.
Nice!
Charlie, roll an athletics check.
17.
Charlie struggles with his whole body and eventually pulls one arm off of the table, shattering the metal.
Oh, criminy. What is his whole deal?
Charlie throws the severed piece of metal that he just burst off directly at the man's head.
Roll an attack.
19.
The metal clangs into the scientist's forehead and he goes unconscious.
Charlie reaches for the other restraint with his free hand and attempts to yank it off as well.
Roll an athletics check.
Nat 20.
Charlie easily rips his whole body off of the steel table.
Hank frisks the scientist for a ring of keys.
Roll an investigation check.
28.
Hank finds no keys, but when looking at the clipboard the man was holding, finds the same golden triangle symbol in the top right corner of the page.
Hank shows it to Count Vanderhorne. What have you gotten into, Vanderhorne?
Oh my god. It's the fucking Illuminati.
What?
You heard me, the Illuminati!
I always thought they were a myth. Something a layman to the paranormal would think is real, but the Illuminati? Are you serious?
Some legends are true, and in this case, the Illuminati are real. And they do control a great deal behind the scenes. And I just may have double-crossed the shit out of them recently.
I guess the rule is if something exists, you're gonna double-cross them, right?
Well, you remember that idol of deep sleep we all had a run-in with?
Did you tell them it was a demon ward, and then you gave it to them, and then they fell asleep, and then you stole all their stuff?
Yes.
Oh, it's just uncreative at a certain point.
You know, down here in this dungeon, having just escaped my chains, I am starting to think I need to change up my schemes at least a little bit.
We gotta get the hell out of here before those guards come.
Indeed. Well, I do have these boots! Vanderhorne jumps 30 feet into the air on his springing boots.
Almost knocking his head against the high ceiling.
That was a close one. All right, I'm not seeing any doors or ladders or anything that could be helpful to us yet. Let's go back to the entrance and go to that wider chamber to see if there's anything there.
Charlie grabs the severed bits of the table that he dislodged and is bringing them along as a weapon. And makes sure to grab his glasses of disguise for good measure and puts it back on his face.
Well, this escape party just got 33% more attractive.
I don't need that from you. Why did you say that?
The three take off down the hallway.
Upon getting into the large chamber of the cave, Hank investigates the walls for any sort of exit.
Make a nature check.
5. I've never been in a cave before. How do we get out of them?
We've been in sewers. Do they work kind of the same? They all go somewhere. They all lead somewhere. There's got to be an exit.
In a cave, you're supposed to follow water to its source, but I don't see any water. Allow me to use my eye patch of true sight. Stand back! Ah, the true sight burns! Okay, I see a tunnel now. Vanderhorne takes off the eye patch. Smoke is swirling around his burned eyeball.
Wait a minute, you had an eye underneath there?
Yes, I just keep burning it horribly when I use the true sight. I need to keep it covered up the rest of the time.
You are a true mystery.
It's reversible, too. I can switch it to the other eye. Okay.
All right, come on, let's scram before you blind yourself.
The three take off down the cave passageway, winding around corners, going up and down slopes, and there's a kind of commotion somewhere in the distance, causing a din of voices that are swelling behind you, it would seem. Roll a perception check, everyone.
27.
13.
24.
Hank and Count Vanderhorne stop Charlie dead, realizing that the sound that sounds like it's coming from behind them is actually vibrating off of the cave walls, and is indeed coming from in front of them. There might be some people waiting for them a little ways down the hallway.
Hold up, Chuck. There might be some people up ahead. You know what? I actually have something for this. Hank removes his fedora hat, reaches deep into his pockets, and pulls out a piece of charcoal, some incense, and a handful of herbs, and places them inside, before sparking a light with his fingers and sending it all up in a plume of smoke. Look, correct! As the smoke dissipates, he reaches much deeper into his hat than is possible, and pulls out a spectral rabbit. As he places it on the ground, his eyes fog over, and he falls back against Chuck, going limp.
Oh, gotcha, buddy.
He can now see through this rabbit's eyes as it runs up ahead and scouts the path.
The little rabbit moves silently along the cave floor, rounds a corner, and peeks into a gigantic chamber with ceilings 100 feet high. Enormous cathedral-sized doors at the opposite end of this massive room, and at least 20 men who are busy organizing rifles, revolvers, and what looks like boxes of grenades, as well as several other crates that have their tops nailed shut. One man seems to be directing the 20.
Put those over there. Be careful with that. We're gonna need that to pick the rock guy apart.
The rabbit scours the room, looking for any other exit besides the 2 doors.
It finds none. There are a few air vents, but none of them are big enough to fit through.
The rabbit sprints back down the hallway and dives into Hank's hat, dissipating in another cloud of smoke. Oh, boy, guys, they are expecting us.
What did you see?
Hank relays everything he saw to them. And the main guy said, "We'll need these to pick the rock guy apart."
Oh my. You don't think they're referring to me? I'm more of a jazz man.
No, you fuddy-duddy, they're talking about me, obviously. I am a rock man. You know this.
Oh, right.
Okay, what do they want with me, Hank? Did they say anything?
Chuck, I think at this point they're just trying to make sure we don't leave.
Is there any other way out besides those doors?
Not that I could see, but I think I might have a solution for that also.
Charlie, Hank, and Count Vanderhorn huddle, making a plan.
Okay, so I'll go in there nice and quiet like and extinguish all the lights, rendering them all blind.
I'll be able to see. I can feel the vibrations in the rock.
And I can use the eye patch of true sight to see through the darkness.
Will you scream when it happens?
How about you give me the scarf of silence to silence my terrible screams?
I don't know. Maybe you can just deal with it better.
All right, I'll take that as a hint. I do have my coat of dazzling light, so once they are plunged into darkness, I can blind them with my cloak, to which I am immune.
Good. Chuck, make sure you don't look at that cloak.
Yes, do not look at the cloak. If you thought I was screaming a lot with the eye patch, the cloak is like 1,000 times worse.
I mean, I tend to keep my eyes off it considering how gaudy it is.
Gaudiness is close to godliness.
Yeah, in spelling.
Chuck, you use the scarf of silence, and you charge around and start picking them off. I'll do the same from the other side.
They'll never hear me coming. Perfect.
And they will see me coming, but only for a second before they go blind.
Yes, that was the plan.
All right, we ready to do this?
Let's do it, fellas.
The 3 break their huddle and then walk forward through the cave slowly and quietly. Everybody roll a stealth check.
18.
31.
27.
Creeping quietly along the stone wall, the 3 peek their heads totem pole style out to get a good look at everybody standing alone in the room. There are several boxes and crates around the room that could potentially be used as cover.
Hank gets into position on the left side behind a crate and motions for the other 2 to get into position as well.
All right, I'm in position.
With his fingers, he slowly counts down from 3. Hank snaps his fingers and all of the light in the room extinguishes.
What's going on? I can't see.
And the trio launches into action. The men in the center of the room are panicking and are immediately disorganized. Chuck, Hank, and Count Vanderhorn will have an entire round of surprise.
Charlie fastens the scarf around his neck so that all of his steps are silent, and then barrels through the big chamber, elbowing everyone he can find right in the face. Charlie goes into a rage as he throws his first elbow. 28.
A man drops to the floor.
27.
And another goes flying over one of the crates.
Charlie smiles as he works his way towards more of the minions.
Let there be light! Count Vanderhorn dons the cloak and is immediately enveloped in a 15-foot cone of deadly, blinding light. He rushes the first group of defenders.
The whole cavern is filled with insane, blinding light, like a volatile disco ball. Hank, Charlie, roll dexterity saves to cover your eyes in time.
28.
7.
Hank, expecting the blast, dips his head below the crates, but Charlie, turning around from having just thrown one of the thugs over a crate, catches a full blast of the light.
So gaudy.
Charlie feels stunned as his senses are overwhelmed, and he goes to his knee for a moment. But the shouting and groaning of all of the men in the center would imply that they have been incapacitated as well.
Hank, in full sprint, throws another card at the nearest man. Nat 20.
The card slits one man's throat as it passes through the air and then falls into another man's temple, dropping both of them.
He pulls the card out of the man's forehead and keeps running.
Charlie, roll a Constitution save.
Botch.
Charlie is dizzy from the blast and stumbles to his feet but is unable to get his bearings.
I warned you to cover your eyes! DerHorne rips the bangles off his wrists and tosses them at the crowd of disoriented men. The 2 portal entrances open, and several men are sucked in and ripped in half. Oh my god, I've never tried that before!
Hank scans the room looking for the man in charge.
He sees him, in black and white grayscale, frantically looking around and rubbing his eyes.
Hank winds up and throws the card directly at his forehead. 14.
And with a thunk, that man drops as well.
Hank takes cover behind the crates, readying another card.
Several of the men begin to go to crates, pulling out the guns and revolvers they were previously stashing, and begin wielding them, pointing them blindly around the room. One of the men ignites a flashlight and casts it around the room. Everybody roll a stealth check.
21.
26.
8.
The flashlight illuminates Count DerHorne,
Oh jeez.
and then everyone opens fire. Bullets fill the air, but Count DerHorne, quick as a flash, darts out of the light, only getting a little bit grazed by one bullet that streaks across his left buttock, dealing 10 damage.
Ah, I've been shot in the buttock!
In the darkness, still stunned, 2 of the men accidentally commit an act of friendly fire, dropping 2 of their compatriots.
Oh shit, Mike, sorry, bud!
The ringing in Charlie's head stops, and he regains composure after his sensory overload.
Charlie picks up one man by the legs and uses him like a baseball bat to bash in the skull of another man.
Roll a grapple check with advantage and then an attack roll.
24.
The man rolls an 18. Charlie grabs his leg and pulls him off of his feet.
Batter up.
22.
DerHorne grabs one of the smaller crates and then leaps with his magic boots up to a height of 30 feet. He drops the crate, it smashes right on top of one guy's head, and he collapses to the ground. 18. Look out below!
Just like in the prison, Hank rubs his palms together, creating a spark that turns into a ball of flame.
Illuminating the confused Illuminati thugs.
Calling for ya!
He flings the mote of fire at the largest grouping of men. 25.
2 men go up in flames. Their bodies begin to burn very quickly, their screams silenced fast. However, the 2 smoldering bodies have now created a source of light in the chamber, and the men regain their composure a little bit, though now you can tell there's only 5 left.
Rush him!
The men gather up together, back to back. 3 men fire at Charlie, 1 man fires at Count DerHorne, and another fires at Hank. Charlie is struck twice. Charlie, hulking through some of the bullets, only takes 12 damage, bringing him down to 123 points of health. Count DerHorne easily matrix dodges one of the bullets that passes over his head, and Hank jerks to one side as a bullet enters a crate to his left.
Charlie charges recklessly at the group of men, holding both of his arms out in an attempt to clothesline the entire group. 16.
All 5 men go down into the dirt in a big pile.
Yeah, try to pick me apart. You guys were cruising for a bruising.
That was a wig chop for the ages.
You're blowing my moment, stop.
Try this on for size, daddy-o. DerHorne, now armed with a grenade, pulls the pen and tosses it into the pile of men.
Oh no.
Charlie attempts to run out of the way of the incoming grenade.
Make a dexterity save.
8.
The grenade explodes. All 5 men scatter across the room, so to speak. Charlie is lifted off of his feet as he gets up trying to run away and is thrown into a gaggle of crates off in the corner. He takes 12 damage, bringing him down to 111 points of health.
DerHorne!
Sorry, Charlie. I didn't see you there.
And everything is quiet.
I think we got them all.
That was some hot action.
Suddenly, there's some shouting from further down the cave. It grows louder, approaching from where you came.
Let's burn rubber, guys.
Don't have to tell me twice. Hank kicks the 2 doors open at the far end of the cave.
Bright sunlight immediately shocks your senses, sending you reeling back for a second before all 3 of you charge into the daylight, finding yourself on a dock. And as you look forward, you see the city of Manhattan. Turning around, as the doors close behind you, you see an old, broken-down warehouse, and there's silence. Nobody exits the doors in pursuit of you, even after a minute or 2.
Hank attempts to get his bearings in the sunlight to see geographically where they are.
Roll a nature check.
21. Oh, yuck. Long Island City.
How long were we out?
I've seen a lot of doors that lead to nowhere in my day. DerHorne returns to the big wooden doors and rips them open.
And reveals a dirty and completely bare warehouse. Broken down. The sunlight is shining through some broken windows in the ceiling.
Well, I'll be.
How do you suppose they did that?
It's a mystery to me. Some sort of transmogrification or mirroring? I'll have to do more research.
You think this is a mirror?
It's all smoke and mirrors in the underworld. In this case, we may have just gone through our reflection.
Shit, Chuck, you gotta give it to him. That was nice.
I can't tell if it was the smartest thing or the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but you said it with confidence, so yeah, I guess. Good for you.
Confidence is 90% of the recipe. The other 10%, chutzpah. Another type of confidence.
And I'm taking all the credit I gave you away.
Count DerHorne's expression softens a little bit, and he looks at the two of you fondly for the first time since ever meeting you.
Well, fellas, I gotta say, you really helped me out of a jam today. I wouldn't be standing here if it weren't for your help.
Well, Jessica, Michelangelo, Aldous DerHorne, maybe we were wrong about you all along. You know, we're not so different.
Charlie pulls Hank aside. Hank, you don't make friends with anyone, and you're making friends with this guy?
Count DerHorne is tapping you on the shoulder, handing you business cards.
These aren't the cursed ones. Trust me. If you all need a favor anytime in the future, please, don't hesitate to ask. You needn't fear the magical chains in my foyer any longer.
Okay, but if I take these, and I all of a sudden become, say, a cursed ventriloquist doll in a horrifying Forever show, or a goldfish in a bowl that never has water in it, I am coming for you.
I think that's fair. And if any of those things happen, it must be outside interference. You have my promise.
Count DerHorne pulls both of you into a quick hug.
Ah, come on, guys. We're chums now. All right. Here's your guys' watches, one of your shoes, Chuck, your pocketbook. Here's your hotel room keys, your car keys.
When did you take this?
Who remembers?
I haven't stayed in a hotel in 10 years.
I guess I should drop by the Gainesville, see if it still works.
Charlie looks at the car keys. Well, these are the keys, but where's the car?
Try the impound lot on 59th Street. It's your lucky day. You won a car. And just ignore what's in the back seat or the trunk or the glove box. It was a crazy night.
Ugh, you making us go to Midtown?
Just take the tunnel. All right, fellas. It's been an adventure. Until next time, I wish you well. DerHorne drops a smoke bomb and disappears. It's not the journey, it's the friends you made along the way.
Both of you make a perception check.
19.
18.
Both Hank and Chuck realize simultaneously.
Wait a minute. Did he take the Scarf of Silence as he was returning our car?
That Count DerHorne is one slippery bastard.
Charlie throws his fist up in the air, shaking it into the wind. DerHorne!
Hit it, boys! Yeah, just like that. Watch your step when you step outside. The roads are narrow and the river's wide, and no one knows what waits inside. So watch your step when you step outside. And watch your step when the path is slick. The shadows here can play a dirty trick, and moonlight's such a fickle guide. So watch your step when you step outside. You want your freedom.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Jack Quaid, Haley Joel Osment, Dylan McCollum, Marty Abbe-Schneider, and Caroline Lux. Theme song written and performed by Matthew McCollum.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod and Ben Doyle for their amazing music, Magehand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Catanese, our hero. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
Your step, it's critical. You don't botch your step. Oh, watch your step when you step outside. Oh yeah!
I certainly made sure you caught your Z's that night.
So you admit it!
I admit nothing!